Hey, it's Sean Price here with Price and Price Group at DXP Realty with this week's market report. There's been a pretty significant increase in buyer activity this week. I've definitely been feeling it that I'm in the field, showing a lot of properties, a lot of new buyer calls coming in. So the buyer activity is certainly picking up. Luckily for buyers, the inventory also picked up this week, so they do have some choices. There is some competition on the properties, but they kind of increased equal to each other. So competition level hasn't really increased too much on each property so far with regards to offers. Now, that could change because I'll tell you, today I've been out looking at several properties, and every property that I've been in has had either multiple people at the property or back-to-back appointments. So I don't know if this is just a fluke, if this week is just kind of a sudden influx of buyers trying to get ready for the schools out, or what's going on, but it definitely seems like the buyer activity has picked up this week, and we'll see if it continues as the summer moves forward. Typically, June is a pretty busy month here in Northern Virginia. It had appeared that it was going to soften a little bit because of the interest rates, but we'll see what happens because there has certainly been a lot of activity this week. Okay, let's go over to the graph, see what it looks like graphically, and I'll see you guys on next week's market report.
Okay, welcome to the graphic representation of what's going on with the market. As always, the orange line is our buyer activity, the blue line is our inventory activity, and you can see that buyer activity increased by 44% week over week in the last 7 days. That's the orange line here. Inventory increased by 52%, so that's the blue line. It's right under the orange line here. So inventory increased more than buyer activity did, um, but they were both up significantly higher. So that's something that we kind of expect to see. We are in June, school let out, so I'm thinking that we're kind of entering into our summer season here. So that's the increase in activity this week. If you go over to the seller's market versus the buyer's market, you can see because the inventory did increase a little bit more than the by 8% more than buyer activity, and they were already pretty close, then the movement for the week was just slightly towards the buyer's market. So we were actually at a neutral market. We were at 101% of absorption rate. 100% is a perfectly neutral market. Anything below 100% is a buyer's market. Anything above 100% is a seller's market. So we're still technically in the seller's market, but it's actually a pretty neutral market. But like I was saying in the part of the video previously, the actual experience being out in the market is that there were quite a few houses this week that had people lined up to get in. So I was in several houses that had multiple agents in there doing tours, and then I was also in situations where several situations where the showings were back to back to back. So definitely a lot of activity this week. Does that mean that we're uh, moving into another highly active, strong sellers market? It's really hard to tell at this point. I think that the market has definitely softened. I think that we are definitely moved towards a more neutral market. I think that with it being the summer and a lot of sellers are trying to take part of the market in case it does drop, they're trying to take part of the market. So the inventory is going up along with that buyer activity. So I think that we're going to stay at a pretty neutral market here for quite some time. But we'll see. We'll watch what happens over the next couple weeks. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I will see you on next week's video.